Have you ever heard of a warrior who chose to stand alone? A man who knew he had been betrayed, yet walked straight into a battle he could never win? Why? What could make a man choose death with open arms? This is the story of Rongsa Nengmin, the last defender of the ancient Garo hills, a tale buried in silence, whispered only in the deepest corners of Achik memory, a story the winds still carry, though few know its end. The calm before the storm. It begins in the quiet valley of Rongchuram, a settlement wrapped in forest mist, where the rising sun touched every leaf like golden paint. For years, peace had lived there, like a sleeping child. But peace is fragile. It takes only one shadow to break it, and that shadow arrived one morning, in the footsteps of a man whose heart had already turned dark. His name was Dalcheng Marak, and with him came betrayal, dressed in the skin of trust. Rongsa Nengmin was no ordinary warrior. He was the Thangkali, the shield of the valley. The one the children followed. The one the elders trusted. The one the skies themselves seemed to honor. He was strong. Yes, stronger than any warrior for miles, but strength was the least of his gifts. What made him unmatched was his heart. Steady, loyal, and unshakable. Dalcheng, on the other hand, was everything Rongse was not. Ambitious, restless, hungry for honor, yet dishonorable in every breath. He had once been Nengmin's friend, even his closest brother in arms, until envy crept silently into his veins and made a home there. For years, Dalcheng watched Rongsa rise. The people's voice, the people's protector, the people's pride, and each time they praised him, Dalcheng's jealousy grew sharper. Still, Rongs trusted him far more than he should have. The arrival of the Tekchang warriors. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the western ridges, a foreign clan arrived at the borders of Rongchuram, armed, armored, and silent. They called themselves the Tekchang warriors, a ruthless band known across the hills for raiding villages and leaving nothing but ashes behind. The people trembled, the elders whispered, but they all turned to one man, Rongse Nengmin. He met the enemy's scouts beneath a banyan tree, where Dalcheng stood beside him. The scouts carried a red flag, a sign of war. Their chief spoke coldly. Wei, we are taking this valley. Give it willingly, or lose everything. Rongse did not waver. This land belongs to the spirits, the people, and the ancestors, he said, and none of them fear you. Rongse's voice was enough to shake the air itself, but there was something else. The Tekchang chief carried something Dalcheng saw first. A promise of power, a secret deal, an offer dripping with poison. Give up Rongse, hand over the valley's defense, and Dalcheng would be made a leader in the conquered land. It was an offer he carried in his heart like a hidden dagger, the night of betrayal. That night, while the moon hung pale and sickly over Rongchuram, Dalcheng made his choice. He met the Tekchang chief in the forest. He made the deal. He agreed to mislead Rongsa, divide the warriors, and guide them into a trap. In return, he would be crowned the valley's ruler under Tekchang protection. His betrayal was silent, swift, and merciless. The forest heard it. The wind heard it. Even the spirits heard it. But Rongse heard nothing. He still believed Dalcheng was his brother. The trap. The next morning, Dalcheng rushed to Rongse, feigning panic. The enemy has split. One group hides near the river. Another marches through the gorge. We must divide the warriors. Rongsa hesitated. Divide? Against a clan as ruthless as Tekchang? But Dalcheng's eyes, false with urgency, sparkling with deceit, convinced him. Rongse agreed. He took 12 warriors with him toward the gorge. Dalcheng led the rest toward the river, straight into the hands of the enemy. They were ambushed, captured, disarmed. Yet the Tekchang chief spared Dalcheng. After all, a betrayer is only useful when allowed to live. The storm of battle. Rongse's group never reached the gorge. They were surrounded halfway, trapped between rising cliffs and enemy spears. 12 against 100. But Rongse fought like a storm, given human form. His spear flashed like lightning. His steps were thunder. His voice carried the fury of 100 generations. Warriors fell before him like dry leaves in a monsoon. But the numbers were too many. One by one, his companions fell, until only Rongse remained. Yet he did not retreat. He did not bend. He did not plead. When the Tekchang chief stepped forward, surrounded by his army, he asked, "Why fight alone? You were betrayed. You were defeated. Why stand now?" Dalcheng arrived moments later, armored in the pride the enemy had gifted him. He looked down upon his former brother. "It is over, Rongse," he said, venom in his smile. Rongse stared at him, quiet, almost peaceful. "Weak men always mistake betrayal for leadership," he whispered. Dalcheng flinched, for Rongse spoke without anger. Only sorrow. The Tekchang chief lifted his spear. Bow. Rongse did not. He lifted his face to the sky. The last roar. There are moments in history when one life becomes larger than itself, when a man becomes a symbol. This was such a moment. Rongse raised his spear, planted his feet upon the earth of his ancestors, and roared. A roar that shook the cliffs. A roar that echoed through the trees. A roar that made even the Tekchang warriors hesitate. He charged. Alone. A lone warrior against an entire army. He fought until his arms bled, until his breath tore from his chest, until his legs gave way. But even when his body fell, his spirit did not. The Tekchang chief said later, "He died like a mountain, even as we tried to break him like a twig." The legacy. Dalcheng was crowned leader, as promised. But the valley rejected him. The people knew. The trees knew. Even the winds knew. Everywhere Dalcheng went, he heard one name whispered. Not as a fallen warrior, but as a legend. Dalcheng's rule lasted only 7 moons. The Tekchang saw him as a coward. The people saw him as a traitor. He ended his days alone, forgotten even by those he had betrayed the land for. But Rongse became eternal. To this day, the children of Rongchuram ask the same question. Why did he fight alone, even after knowing he was betrayed? And the elders answer, because a true warrior does not fight for victory. He fights for the people who believe in him. Rongse did not stand for revenge. He did not stand for pride. He did not stand for glory. He stood because someone had to. He stood because he loved his people more than his life. He stood because the hills deserved one last roar.